Welcome to the parody where we tally up the victims and our favorite media. I'm Chelsea Rose, and today we're looking at Battle for Dream Island again, the second season of the BFDI released in 2012. Initially, BFDIA probably wasn't even gonna happen, but it only happened due to the immense success of the first season. And by immense success, I only mean like a couple of thousand views, but back then, that was enough. For a show like BFDI, this is probably exactly how you want to do a second season. It switches up the formula in a few ways and adds a couple of new characters, but overall, it's the exact same tone. And for the type of show BFDI is, I feel like that's exactly what should be the case. And it worked! This was also an immensely popular season for community or YouTube standards back then. And it remains popular even now, being a fan favorite season. I'm not gonna drag out this intro as long as it did the BFDI Season 1 intro, but you can still see that this season also had a bit of work put into it. Because this season also has the only ever actually designated multi-part episode, BFDIA 5, which is split up into 4 separate episodes in one game. And for 10 years, this season was stuck as just being a 5-episode season, with a vast majority of the runtime being 1 episode. Obviously, with me saying that, we're only looking at the portion of the season designated as 2A, which came out from 2012 to 2013. BFDIA 6 was originally supposed to be released in September of 2013, but then a hiatus happened. It seemed like the season would remain unfinished, it only ending with just everyone falling down at the end of 5E. But then they pulled this on us. That's right, the episode actually came out and the hiatus that went on for exactly 10 years ended. And it also came back with vastly improved visuals. But for now, we're going to be looking at pre-hiatus BFDIA to see how all of this came to a midpoint. The gap between the first 2 seasons was 6 months. Let's see how blood-hungry they got between that time and get to the kills. The season begins with a manhunt. However, Leafy's mostly going to be a side piece this season, so we can focus the word manhunt on another green guy. If only that other green guy wasn't a bad person. I don't know how exactly we got to this point, but you will get to know how if you read the top comment on BFDIA 1, which literally spoils how we get to know it. Anyways, Leafy chooses one to pass before the others even have a chance to catch up to her. Since the others can't see her, they get lost, but then Pencil whips out her Leafy detector.
I mean, why prospect when you can detect?
The Leafy detector has a 100% success rate, so now we're all chasing her again. Right over Evil Canyon, she gets knocked off by a map, which she eventually blues clues into. Pink gets a hold of a map and destroys it, signaling that no more islands will be stolen. A few months later, 789 voters voted 15,532 times for an eventual cast for the second season. The 2 are segregated into groups where Book can't believe she didn't make it in. She has a brief argument with a future teammate before she gets slapped in the face by a piece of paper that's the BFDI game rules. The rules in order are Rule 1, contestants not present may not compete. And because of that technicality, there are a few extra spots available for people to make it in. However, we have all these present contestants, but still not a host, so who's it gonna be?
Yahoo, I wanna know. 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 Yahoo, I wanna know.
Eventually, they choose TV. Rule 2, eliminated contestants must be killed.
Wait, what?
That's not it, it's just eliminated contestants must be treated with TLC. The then split into OG versus newbie teams, and Donut complains that their team is smaller than theirs. That leads into a very interesting set of conundrums until Puffball suggests something. If one player switches, then they'll be equal. They decide to kidnap Match, and Pencil doesn't really like that. Rule number 3 is to spin the wheel to choose the next contest, which will be recurring throughout the entire season. While Phrysis wants to get on with this, Fiery reads out another rule. Before every challenge, players may switch teams if they ever so choose, which is another new mechanic that will be permeating. Immediately, everyone on Donut's team decides they want to switch, meaning he's gonna be alone. Then the animators decided they wanted to play around with the screen size, which gives us a nice few angles to choose from. Some of my favorites are Nickel's smiley face, Dora just selecting a cavalcade of numbers, Pin's subtle foreshadowing, Puffball just having some random guy there, Corny predicting episode 8, Spongy predicting episode 11, Fire predicting Teapot 9, Tennis Ball choosing Flower for whatever reason, and Ice Cube choosing a trio of Davids. When we get done with that, Corny decides to switch over to Donut's team and wants to take Pin with him, even though she really doesn't. However, with the encouragement of everyone else, she doesn't. The wheel is spun and eventually it chooses Tug of War. This time around, the intro is just an upgrade, so I won't go. Wait, hold on, go back. You're just gonna scroll by without saying hi to Coiny? This is the most lopsided challenge in the series' history. I mean, the other team has Spongy on it. So it's no surprise when this trio falls down and loses the challenge immediately. However, this time the way to vote is different. Instead, you have to like or dislike the video of each contestant. And as is stated, most dislikes elimination, most likes to get a prize. Someone who's not gonna get a prize is Leafy, who's just sifting away to sands of time in Yoyland. In the fall of last challenge, Corny wants to come up with a team name, but Donut doesn't want one. So now he's basically Flower 2.0. Someone who isn't Flower 2.0 is an oddly miscolored Pin who's sweating ooze because she's nervous about getting eliminated. However, she does want a team name and she suggests the Corny Pin Donut. I'm sorry, but it's too funny. Corny, however, comes up with Woe Bunch based on things people on her team can do.
Well, if you don't like it, you can go eliminate yourself.
Ice Cube makes the best face known to man, only for Match and Pencil to mock her about it, saying it was ugly. Then TV makes some horrible Cake at Steak intros.
Stop! That's not any better!
At Cake at Steak, Corny gets the most likes, but only wins just about 4 seeds. However, shockingly, Donut is eliminated first. Oh yeah, he and the other eliminated contestants get stuck inside the locker of losers. Since no one on Team No Name wants to switch, Corny suggests that they'll make someone switch. Pin elects Teardrop just because she didn't say she hates her. After the switch is completed, the challenge is to make some yoil stew.
Well, get digging, Bobby! The ingredients are probably underground.
Team No Name needs some yoil berries from Yoyland, but the only problem with that is that Yoyland is 2,763 miles away. It'd normally be really slow, but Fire neglects that there's someone there who can help them get their way faster. A group of people, including Spongy, is sent off to Yoyland while the rest of the people are tasked with making the stew. To find a bowl, Match and Nickel have a bowl off. However, Golf Ball has other plans.
I've drawn where the base of the bowl should go.
Fries, however, wants nothing to do with this and tasks Zoro to go dig down for islands. In a Michael animated scene, Quinny laments that they have literally nothing. However, they may actually have something, as the seeds he got were yoil seeds, which can grow yoil berries in seconds.
There isn't enough room up here.
Gelatin throws Spongy, Book, and Icy into a forest with Evil Leafy in it. They run so far, they eventually get to the part of the canyon Leafy had a hard time with, and Spongy almost falls in. Book saves him with an extremely long arm. However, Evil Leafy just teleports across and catches up to them, and especially Spongy. Book and Ice Cube leave him behind as he gets possessed by Evil Leafy.
Need to kill someone right away?
I think it's a bit weird we're counting a stick figure as the first ever kill of BFDIA, but that's what the wiki does, so yeah. However, Golf Ball doesn't like his advertisement and interrupts him in the middle of it. While Team No Name destabilizes more and more, Woe Bunch has their stew mixed up. Gelatine, Needle, and Puffball, however, couldn't care about all that as they're taking a flyover of Goiki. And also Woody's corpse in the boat from 1A, but I already counted Woody, so I'm not doing it again here. After that extremely long montage, they finally make it. What they make this do, Pencil and Match tell Ruby that Bubble's being killed and they're looking for a new member of their alliance, so Ruby decides to join.
Get digging, Nickel! The ingredients are probably underground.
Then, Needle's life would forever be ruined.
I'm glad that I'm not too needy.
Needle slaps her, but that was probably a mistake. To combat against Leafy's knives, Gelatin has vaporizing acid balls, which Needle shoots at Leafy. Gelatin and Needle retreat on Puffball, and they go for the same montage again, only way faster. Ruby acts a bit weird about Bubble before Gelatin and Needle return. In the end, Woe Bunch wins because they have the one thing they value most, simplicity.
You guys can stop.
And that's it for BFDIA 2, so on to episode 3, which only aired 2 weeks later.
Let's hear that new Cake at Steak song.
Already we're getting into it with a cake at stake and everything. Puffball wins the prize, but since she doesn't have, she can't spin the wheel. Book spins the wheel for her and she wins a personal speaker box. However, in terms of dislikes, Spongie's just a wall of text. Gee, I wonder what happened to him. In the end, the contestant eliminated is, for some reason, Dora. At the team switching ceremony, Corny friends Needle by saying that if she doesn't switch, he's gonna call her needy 3 times in a row. And nobody wants to be called that. Eventually, it's contest time, and the contest today is to destroy a lot of bugs. Considering we're stuck with a lot of bugs, that means there's probably gonna be a whole lot of additions. And oh yeah, the bugs are, fireproof. However, they are not kill graphic proof. Outside, Ruby has a confession to make, and that confession is that she was acting a little weird towards Bubble last episode. She was only acting that way because she thought she would have been expelled from the Alliance. They bring Bubble back, but she immediately reacts negatively towards Ruby. Well, I mean, there is an explanation.
According to the book of BFDI Tips and Tricks, an alliance of more than or equal to 4 will most surely divide into opposite sides.
They can't have an alliance division, but Pencil also has a succinct point.
Look, Bubble, this book is over 1 billion years old, and it's written by Golf Ball, who's a total bozo-brain bossy bot.
With that, Bubble agrees and welcomes Ruby into the alliance. Book and Ice Cube are hired as alternates. After that, the attractor of all pointed people, Teardrop, dies. And then just, a standard BFDI death spree.
Oh no!
Rocky, if you read my book of BFDI Tips and Tricks, you'd know never to eat the poisoned remains of a dead contestant.
Wow, Golf Ball. You look like a mini-me.
Nickel then has the realization that Bommy's the only person who can stop the bugs. And now the episode just has a ticking time bomb. And the ticking kill count trajectory up. Now it's only Pen and Needle left for Will Bunch and
Team No Name wins. Hey, what's this? A win token?
And also, of course, a bunch of flying glass pops Bubble. With all the dead people, Match wants Tennis Ball to build a recovery center, but he really can't just do that out of the blue. So now we're done with what is by far the shortest episode of the season with not that much to talk about. Except the recommended character of Doughball, who was supposedly recommended by Jack and Jellyfish themselves. Isn't that cheating?
Whoa there, buddy. Let's calm you down. Now that you're frozen, I can write a message on your back. Ah, it's beautiful.
To start off with the second to last episode, Book doesn't really know what they're battling for. Fiery thinks that's a bit ironic because, well, she's a book, but she teaches them his own lesson. She's told that they're battling for Dream Island. At first, Book thinks Dream Island is a disease, but it's really not, because it's a whole big loud paradise.
Thanks for telling me, TB. Now I feel well informed.
You mean well-read. Yuck, yuck.
Eventually, it's time for Cake at Stake, but they're all the way on top of the Eiffel Tower, and it's a really long way up there, if you don't know. Michael animates Pin trying to shake them off, but there's no way she can do it.
It's the Eiffel Tower. There's no way she'll shake us off.
Haha, she must not be very well-read.
Whoa.
Pencil and Match become lifesavers, but they completely forget about Tennis Ball.
TB totally, deserved it. He's been so lazy.
Book gets completely shaken off the Eiffel Tower, but then she lands in a vat of dream sauce. Pin forgets to stop shaking the Eiffel Tower, which in turn kills Ruby. With over 500 likes at the elimination, Teardrop by far wins the prize. However, she currently can't spin the wheel because, well...
Fries! Teardrop's dead. And so are you. You're not dead.
Fries was counted last episode, but Gelatin has anti-poison, so he's still alive. Also, with the sun out and the ice melting, Fiery is extinguished. Gelatin has one remaining syringe of anti-poison, and they decided to use it on Teardrop because she has to spin the prize wheel.
Feeling better, Teardrop?
Oh wait, one more thing. The side effects do include eating another contestant once you're unpoisoned.
Oh, great. Fries, who did you eat?
Spongy.
Spongy?
Yes!
Teardrop has the choice of immunity into the final 15 or a hand-powered recovery center, and since Pin has the full belief in her, she goes for the hand-powered recovery center.
Match, look out!
OMG, Gelatin is so awful at, life-saving.
I know, right? He cut it way too close.
However, now with this, they can bring anyone back as they wish. They bring Bubble back, but she immediately pops. I'm actually gonna decide to skip counting this death for now. Later on in this parody, I'll count it in a certain cluster of victims. However, I will count when Pin, not Coiny like it says in the graphic, pops her. That in turn starts a string of recoveries.
I'll bring Nickel back.
Look at this graph!
Eventually, Golf Ball brings Ruby back, which in turn causes Flower to return.
Don't ever do that again.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah, they don't really like that. Spongy also gets recovered here, which confirms that he actually did get eaten by fries. When we get to the dislikes, something extremely unprecedented happens. With 440 dislikes, Teardrop is eliminated despite getting the most likes. If you're wondering how this is fair at all, well, it isn't. As the story goes, on August 17th, 2012,
Birthday mentioned?
a channel by the name of Derpy Hooves had uploaded a video telling people to dislike Teardrop's video. The reasoning was that Teardrop really couldn't do a whole lot and got in the way of people with personalities that should continue. Derpy Hooves as a channel is also run by the person who voices Nickel in both BFDI and II, and is also the person behind Inanimate Insanity itself. Yup, that's right. Derpy Hooves was run by Adam Katz himself. The fans started questioning him, and all he had to do to respond was blame his cousin for it and tell them that they could eliminate Nickel anytime they'd like. All these years later, Nickel is still competing on BFDIA, and Adam, still has some voting controversies.
If he survives to Teapot 10, I will give away 5 Nickel plushies.
Now he's surrounded by needly contestants and very pretty angered by his statement. Anyways, today they decide to double up on new team members. The contestants they persuade are Bommy and Yellowface. Now it's time to spin the wheel, but Ruby has one question. How are we still battling for Dream Island if Leafy stole it last season?
Wow, I hope they find it. Wow, I hope they find it. Wow, I hope they find it.
So without Dream Island, we're just battling for nothing?
Yeah, Yellowface, they are just battling for nothing. The challenge ends up being a viable solution to build Dream Island. All of Team No Name heads to Golf Ball's underground factory, but Bubble is forbidden due to the fact that she isn't an actual BFDIA contestant. Instead of an industrial Dream Island, Wobunch decides to make one that's farm-themed. Golf Ball explains to Fries that her underground factory is made for innovation and creation, but he thinks it's all pointless. For that unspeakable crime, he gets kicked into a wide-open incinerator. Gelatin retaliates against that by freezing Golf Ball, which sends her falling down towards the incinerator. However, she did build a safety net to save herself from dying. Maybe she just has the incinerator there so she can have a death trap for Gelatin.
Alright then, so here's our plan.
Pencil is correctly able to identify that the plan was the voice cracks all along. This exposes that Golf Ball has some questionable policies, aka criticism equals public execution. With Team No Name currently in turmoil, Wobunch has finished building their island. However, during that time, Yellowface walked in the Golf Ball's factory. We don't get to see him just yet though, as we have to see the Dream Sauce and Book get cooked. That's when Yellowface shows up and tells us that for only $19.95 you can make a way better Dream Island than Golf Balls. She spills the vat and the Dream Island starts glowing into something magnificent. Courtney correctly identifies this as a bad thing for Wobunch because they don't want to be eliminated twice in a row, and also for Dream Island would be amazing. Easy, blow them up. While that's brewing, Team No Name is naming the named island.
I think it should be called Poopy Mayonnaise. It's got that nice ring to it.
I've got a better idea. How about Ziggy Boogie Doo?
Oh, I got a better idea. How about your entire team is dead, including Yellowface and Bommy? The challenge is now over, and while Wobunch's island is extremely bad, Team No Name doesn't even have one at all, so by default, Wobunch wins.
Hey, Gelatin, How does that feel?
It feels fine, because I'm immune to bug poison. Duh. The HPRC must have produced you without a brain.
Hello! I got some good news and bad news for the rest of the season. The good news is that we only have one episode left. The bad news is that last episode is more than half of this entire season's runtime. That's right, next up is the Behemoth 5-parter that is BFDIA 5, which came out from January to August of 2013. Pin decides that she wants to swing with Bubble, even though Bubble doesn't know why she wants to in the first place. Pin just wants to become friends with Bubble right now, but they really don't have a lot in common, and besides, Bubble is in another alliance. The two finally find some common ground because they both hate Leafy, who's right there. They try freezing Leafy, but since she's made out of a certain type of metal right now, she can't be frozen. After such a long walk, Leafy is hungry, but Gelatin's dead, so they can't get anything from a steakhouse. So then they just decide to give her an onion. You know, this onion is good and all, but about Fiery, he's dead, so we might want to recover him. While they do that, Pin devises a way to kill Leafy, but everybody dodges and it accidentally hits the Puffball speaker box. Separate from this, Bubble decides to stop swinging with Pin for some reason. As a swinging replacement, she wants Buck and Ice Cube, but she comes onto them just a little bit too hard. Like actually just way too hard. Before they're interrupted, they're heading towards the Alliance's dance party. They get there, Bubble is quick to welcome them, but Pencil and Match don't have such a fair reception.
Pencil is right, you know, so goodbye.
Leafy tries talking to Fiery, but he just passes her off as a stranger. Yeah, Fiery, we'll see how strange she'll be to you when we get back up to Yoyland. And also about this, I'm just gonna count it when we get there. It's also just about time for Cake at Stake, but we can't really get there right now because Pin stabbed the Puffball speaker with a knife on accident. However, good news, Fiery still has his replacement.
Cake at Stake!
The cake this time is Donut's corpse, chopped up into 18 little pieces.
Weird cake of choice. 7,104 votes were cast, and Puffball wins the most likes again. She has Buck spin the wheel for her again, and the prize chosen is the removal of limbs from a contestant of her own choice. Yeah, FSB, I don't really understand the semantics of this. Puffball really doesn't want to make the choice, but she has to in the end, so she chooses Pin because of the speaker box incident.
It's almost like having limbs.
Fiery Speaker Box remarks that every time Puffball's team has been up for voting, she's won the prize. That's only been twice. Hey guys, this guy thinks getting the most likes twice out of multiple is impressive. Let's all laugh at him. You know, Chelsea, you aren't even competing right now. Out of everybody, Gelatin got the least dislikes at 105, which is still quite a lot.
Well, it's the fewest out of everybody, so be happy.
Do I not look happy to you?
When it comes down to the wire, Golf Ball and Match are at the final two. We even get some viewer testimonies to reflect the actual opinions of people from around November of 2012. We got some good ones in here, but nothing can beat.
I like Match cause she's is awesome.
And by a close 20 votes, Match is eliminated with 426 dislikes. They set up an elimination prevention plan, but no one else seems to notice it happened at all.
Goodbye, Match. Your elimination will be beneficial for our team.
Yay!
At the team switching ceremony, Pin decides that she'll kidnap Nickel for her team. Even though the ramifications are questionable, she does it anyways.
Spongy, join our team. Okay.
Because all of her members keep on getting stolen, Golf Ball pledges everyone on Team No Name to promise that they'll never switch ever. Her promise goes well for quite a while until she gets to Pencil, who wants the freedom to switch teams if she wants to. In fact, Pencil's entire alliance decides that they want to split away from Team No Name. Michael comes back to animate the forming of a new team. Book reasons that because they wanted to be free, they should name the team Freedom.
But then it sounds like free dumb. And we're not dumb.
We are totally not like dumb. We are so super smart.
Well, then it's obvious what our team should be. Free smart!
Yeah! Hey, Pencil. Your arm is raised up high. You know what that means, right? Courtney gives off homophobic alarm and joy as his team is now officially the largest.
We're tied for the largest team.
Whatever. It doesn't make a difference.
The challenge for the next 8 months is to reach the summit of Yo-Yo Mountain, which is 2,763 miles away. The only thing they have to make sure of is that their entire team is at the official summit in order to win the challenge. However, before we get to that point, Match gets spotted but disguises herself as a tree. To keep herself for free smart, Bubble does the exact same thing.
So, free smart, what's our plan?
Shut up and get in the van! Wait, we should bring the HPRC with us.
Team No Name gets on the puffball ASAP while Wobunch just walks there. At first, Pin would have been their biggest detriment, but Courtney has a genius idea. She's round now, so she can just roll. As the teams separate further and further away from each other, the amount of things actually happening slows down.
There isn't enough room up here.
Oh, no, Johnson, no.
That's better.
Because of gelatin yet again, Evil Leafy has a new slew of victims. Free Smart drives into snowy territory where the teammates start throwing snowballs at each other, which is highly disrecommended.
It's bad if it mixes with the gasoline.
Pencil, I have bad news for you. It mixes with the gasoline and turns into glue. Thankfully, Fries realizes that gelatin just threw half her team into the evil forest, which contains Evil Leafy. Therefore, somebody's going in reverse. Book realizes that they're in the evil forest, but Pencil is more worried about a canyon, so now they have to jump over it. You know, I can't really take this scene seriously because Bubbles' animation here would be reused in BFB, a non-asset-based season. But also because they're just about to run over a few people as the rest of Team No Name is running towards the canyon. Sure enough, Free Smart and half of Team No Name is stuck inside Evil Leafy, and, guys, are all gonna get out? No? No? How long does this shot go on for? Oh, Jesus Christ, 2 minutes? Of course, Jack and Jellyfree realized the potential of people being stuck inside Evil Leafy, so instead of making an episode, they made a game. It was first announced in a video with Thick, Fiery, and Coiny. It would be released on February 11th, 2013. The game received a few updates, but would never be finished. However, the episode itself would be finished and continue with BFDIA 5C. The third part starts off with Fries as the only person on top of Puffball. Fries gets woken up by a storm of basketballs and learns that Fiery and Gelatin fell off by tying their legs together. That leads them to Evil Leafy, the setting of a video game that Free Smart just escaped out of. Book's worried about the team they left behind inside of Evil Leafy, but like, do they really need to get out of there if they want to win? Free Smart reaches a set of buttons, and when Ruby jumps up, she pops Bubble. In a quite frankly weird and uncharacteristic turn for Pencil, she just kind of yells at Ruby to press the button. Yeah. She does apologize about it, and when Ruby presses a button and it's the wrong one, she just continues doing that. Considering what point in the show we're at right now, it feels especially out of character, considering her negative turning point wouldn't even start until BFB 4 years later. Even in the BFDIA reboot, she doesn't even come close to this level. Anyways, Ruby presses the wrong button again, and she starts getting, worse. Ruby gets to the correct button, but it only kills Pencil by Inanimate Insanity 2 demoving her. And also, if this was the last part of the episode and Free Smart was up for elimination, Pencil surely would have gotten eliminated here. Then a purple button pops up, and it turns out that was actually the correct button needed to get them out of there. Evil Leafy spots them and they start getting chased by both her and Fries and Puffball. Woolbunch finally reaches the forest after all this time, but Pink gets stuck in a pit of glue right underneath a tree. However, that tree might have also been yet another death trap for one of the contestants as it crushes Pin. The multi-party chase continues until Ruby and Book climb up into a tree and cut a way off. Dude, this episode really did become a depressing death factory real quick. With Evil Leafy done for, it's time to recover the dead teammates. Although if you played BFDIA 5B, you know that the recovery center is inside Evil Leafy, and they just crushed it. Woolbunch finally makes it out of all of the snow, and it appears that they're only 70 feet away. However, they're actually 2,761 miles away, whilst approaching the Evil Canyon. See? Told y'all. Needle is the only person that's able to save them from actually dying before Corny has another idea, using Spongy as a shield.
Hey, Spongy, do you think you could do us a little favor and impale yourself on those spikes to save our lives?
No way.
Help me! Spongy, please! You'll die either way! Yeah, please!
No, not moving.
What's that? I can't exactly tell what you said through all those layers of fat. It sounded kind of like sure thing, Corny.
No, I said.
Corny also has a killer strategy to get back up to the ground. The others are also needy to get back up, so they do the exact same thing. Now they only need to get Needle and Spongy up, and they decide to recover them later. I guess the disturbing death factory theorem remains true. She and Spongy are burnt to death, and wow. The Alive Woolbunchers meet up with Book and Ruby and figure out that they're the final 6 of the entire show right now.
So you killed yourself.
Since they're all rapidly dying way too quickly, they're gonna have to hand power another hand-powered recovery center back into the fold. People who won't have to join in are Match and Ice Cube, who survived the explosion at the beginning of this part. But because of Match's fire, Ice Cube doesn't make it into 5D Alive. Part 4 begins right where we left off of Part 3, where we're still cranking for the hand-powered recovery center to come back. After 78 exhausting days of cranking, the hand-powered recovery center finally comes back. Then the hand-powered recovery center creator starts a self-destruct countdown, which nobody knew about. Except for Book, who tells us that it's only meant to be a single-use machine, and after creating only one HPRC, it'll destruct. Well, that would have been great to know. Then it blows up, and I'll have to add nobody to the list because nobody died from it. Free Smart fully recovers their team, so the challenge can now officially continue.
Needle! Pin! Spongy!
Both teams seem pretty close right now, but Pencil just has another van in the middle of the woods. Woolbunch also has their own tricks, as they decide to recover Puffball and frighten her so she can fly them up to Yoyoland. It goes just as well as you would imagine, and all Woolbunch ends up frozen. FreeSmart doesn't have to worry about any of that, as for the first time in the entire 5-part saga, someone finally makes it out of that forest. Off screen, the rest of Team No Name is recovered, and they decide to leave the Woolbunch bodies behind. Oh, FreeSmart also has a leg-powered recovery center that absolutely no one is going to use the way it was intended to. However, Book just has to see if you can use their arms on it, and of course it doesn't work at all. They debate on what they could do without the recovery center, but decide to steal the hand-powered recovery center from inside the evil forest. However, that still doesn't help the sweltering temperatures, so Ruby starts a massive snowball fight inside the super van.
Hey, what are you doing? The snow will mix with the gasoline. Stop this. No more snow. No more snow.
Oh yeah, the snowball fight also pops bubble. The snowball fight extends on the puffball, which Team No Name recognizes is impossible inside the desert. Gelatin recognizes the source as being the super van, and Pencil makes the deadliest decision in BFDI history. Puffball goes full speed, which makes Golfball fall into the super van before the snow all melts.
Now that the dust is cleared, now that the snow is cleared, we are... Oh my god, it's a monster!
I mean, guys, if you ask me, you shouldn't have kicked the golf ball out, because the episode's kill count still would not have inflated as much as it will. Back with Woolbunch, Yellowface unfreezes and walks towards the desert. When he gets there, however, he's stuck in FreeSmart's glue.
Huh? Philly!
Pencil exclaims to FreeSmart that they're about to arrive in the 500-mile-wide Goiki Canal. Because of the hole on the top of the van, everybody starts drowning quickly. Whenever Bubble drowns, she pops, but everyone else just turns darker when they do it. And when everyone dies, their bodies are front at the back. You may have noticed I haven't counted anything here, and that's because of the, a a certain part of this, if you will. The final shot of the episode doesn't look too bad until, oh, that's not, yeah. That is a lot of bodies, and that is an understatement. So I had to make up a system to count all of these in a succinct way. What I decided I wanted to do for this is count one body per mile of the Goiki Canal, and since it's 500 miles long, Fantail is having to add numbers from 1 all the way up to 500. So 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, all the way up until you get to 500. And it looks like the math really hates time heroes, because I'm having to add 125,250 kills to the count right now. Alistair's drownings constitute 125,249 kills on the count. Because we also gotta remember, I forgot to add Bubble when she popped in BFDIA 4. But substituting 1 out of 125,000, really doesn't do a whole lot. Pig gets unfrozen and immediately recognizes that the HPRC got stolen. Free Smart finally makes it out of the Goiki Canal, and Ruby collects a lot of yoyo berries to eat. Needle also gets unfrozen, and she and Pin decide to see what would happen if Corny and Nickel were placed next to each other. When they make the two go together, a strange hole opens up. Then bam, they're richer than Elon Musk. Team No Name, however, they're in a very weird place.
I'm pretty sure this is David Land.
How do you know this isn't a shortcut?
Nickel and Corny's frozen fusion has ended up in a bag of money that Wobunch is dragging through the desert. However, that isn't the most wild thing any team is doing right now. Yep, Fiery and Gelatin have tied their legs together and almost fall off of Puffball. That means everyone else is far behind as Free Smart finally makes it to Yoil City, which is apparently long lost. I've seen a whole crap ton of buildings. However, I am willing to excuse all that weirdness because these shots of Yoil City still hold up 11 years later.
Ow, what was that for? We, passed a matchstick factory. It's the rule.
Pin realizes that Corny, Needle, and Nickel all got frozen, even though they're made out of metal. The answer to that is that they're not made out of Yoil metal, which is unfreezable, which is why Leafy couldn't be frozen in 5A. Free Smart finally reaches the foot of the mountain, and Ruby accidentally gets the recovery center stuck in a lot of glue. Sigh. What the heck, Ruby? How are we supposed to recover each other now? Fiery notices that the Davids in Davidland aren't saying us seriously, and that's because they only say it when they're provoked by something.
It's about time. Davids are the most annoying creatures I have ever laid my eyes upon.
Team No Name reaches Yoyland and Pencil gets stuck in a fishy situation yet again. With Team No Name catching up, the only thing they can do is kill Pencil if they want to win. Hey Match, do you know what the name of the 2004 horror film that introduces John Kramer is?
Saw.
Wobunch finally finds Yellowface stuck to the ground because of a lot of glue. He's in a similar situation to Pencil, where they'll have to recover him later down the line if they want to win. However, unlike Pencil, Yellowface is much more well adjusted to this particular situation.
So, Yellowface, die.
Okie dokie.
New addition to the Futurama Suicide Booth. Unlocked.
Stop, Ruby. Yeah. Kill me quick. Yeah. So we can win the contest.
Yeah!
Perhaps one of the best ways to cut to another death of all time. Once Pencil is recovered and Team No Name is ahead, she becomes a syringe machine. Pencil generates 2 more pencils and Team No Name is frozen. So now they can walk all the way up to the top. And sure enough, they make it, ensuring their team is in first place for the challenge. And then Bubble just does whatever this is. No Name quickly falls out and they reach the top second, so at least they're not going to be up for elimination now. However, as the Fiery Speaker Box explains, this summit was actually a fake out, as the real one is much higher up. No Name hops on the Puffle again, but Pencil sabotages him by taking Rocky off. However, she's just putting him somewhere else, and that's on the count. As Team No Name goes to retrieve her dead teammate, Free Smart makes their way up across this 3D obstacle course, which again is another visual that I think still holds up a bit. It's a long scene, but I don't really mind it. Eventually, Free Smart is the first team to make it up to the actual summit of Yoil Mountain, but however, that comes at a cost. Match being eliminated in full.
Oh geez, where's my disguise?
It's a bit late for that, don't you think?
Bubble is also spotted and tries to pass herself off as a tree, but either way, it's not really convincing. At this rate, it looks like Wobunch is gonna be up for elimination by a long shot, but someone's gonna have to make a trick shot if they want to catch up. With the power of magnetics, Coiny tries to make a shot, but only has Rocky get killed again. With a second attempt, he's able to get the magnet working. Luckily for him, Needle is reactive to magnets, so they go flying all the way across the Goiki Canal. However, the byproduct is yet again killing Rocky.
You've got to be kidding me.
Yellowface is recovered by Needle, but it seems to be all in vain as Fries finally recovers Rocky and the entire team is able to head up to the true summit. Team No Name almost makes it, but someone must have just raided Puffball's palace as she has a sudden change of heart after remembering what the FSP told her. Because remember, every time her team is up for voting, she always gets the most likes, and she really loves prizes, so she wants all of that goodness. Therefore, she sabotages her own team and sends them into the mouth of the fish monster. Because Puffball is too prize hungry, all of Wobunch is able to make it to the summit. Season 2A ends with what is officially the biggest lie of all time.
How are we gonna get down from here?
How many island dreamers die when they had to do all of this again but with absolutely nothing? Let's find out and get to the numbers. Although I will have to ask someone to give them to me. Get digging, Fries. The numbers are probably underground. 125,303 people died in pre-hiatus BFDIA, which is by far the record, but still 674,751 short of MSS Blue. There were 41 men and 125,272 women because Freeze Park kept on drowning. But we're not giving this episode a pie chart because, honestly, you couldn't even see in a male part. So, let's just go to the hallucinating confetti, everyone. Let's go BFDIA pre-hiatus. You did it. Finally took over 9 years after 11 months. Here's what it looks like among the top 10, and even though that looked ridiculous before, it looks even more ridiculous now. It compares to BFDI Season 1, pretty obvious. With this portion of the season having a combined runtime of 83 minutes, that meant we had a kill on average of 0.04 seconds. And with the season portion also having 5 episodes contained in it, that meant each episode had an average of 25,060.6 kills per episode. I'll give Amethyst Flavor to Needle and Spongy because these are some of the more disturbing kills of the lot we got here. I'll give Broken Pistol the Bubble in BFDIA 5D since it was the most boring out of the popping deaths. And that's it. BFDIA's initial run would go from 2012 to 2013 until it went into a 10-year hiatus. It ended in September of 2023, but I'll get to that some other time. For now, we have to look at High Charles 27 exclusive next week. Until then, I'm Chelsea Rose, and it's been the Parody. So, there you have it. That's the entirety of BFDIA's initial run. And honestly, this is something I've been wanting to do ever since I got completed with BFDI in 2023. I was originally going to do it then, but I dropped out. Didn't get back to it until like last week, and then I started all of this. And then here we are now. So I finally have it done, and it could be the behemoth starter for 2025. Which is probably going to be the shittiest year of the parody of all, just because of what's going to happen in 2 weeks. Like last year, I'm going to try to do a weekly schedule for this year, although I'll be putting many more Supercut parodies into the fold. That way, you'll be getting one parody each and every week, and I'll have to stick to that promise. So then, the formula for this year is that this is going to be the start of it, and then it'll be released every Wednesday. And also at the start of every month, you're gonna get like a big parody. It can be like a game, a season, or a really long movie. I don't know. But what's important is that